Wait. Just let me explain, please. I strongly believe that Little Rascals is a Mafia movie. What? Kind of. There's so many elements in the movie, specifically the club. The He-Man Woman Haters Club. So please, just watch the whole video, please. Let me explain myself. And yes, of course I've got it in the collection. Now, I rewatched the video, okay? I did my research, and there's a couple of points that I thought were really interesting that reminded me of like Goodfellas, Irishman, Casino. Stay with me, okay? I've got some valid points. So this is how a real Mafia family works. I'll be reading off the notes that I took, which is based off the real one, by the way. At the very top of the family tree is the Don, the boss. Below that is the Consigliere. Ooh, I did not pronounce that properly, I'm sorry. Below that is the underboss. And then you've got the 3 captains. And then below that, you've got their soldiers. Bro, there is a lot of evidence. If we were to look at Little Rascals as a Mafia family, okay, at the very top, you've got the Don, which is Spanky, the leader of the He-Man Woman Haters. And then the thing about the Consigliere, I butchered that. In this movie, there isn't really one. And then below that, you've got Stymie, which is the underboss. But he also plays both roles as the underboss and the Consigliere. And then, how I said there's usually 3 captains in a Mafia family. In Little Rascals, there's only 2. So those 2 captains are Porky and Buckwheat. And then you've got the soldiers, which in the Little Rascals is all the other characters that don't have lines. So like a couple of these NPCs. Okay, so you're still with me. Thank you. So let's talk about each role and the importance, right? So you've got the Don, right? At the very top, Spanky, right? The Don. Now Spanky is in charge of the He-Man Woman Haters Club. He's the leader, okay? And you see him throughout the film organising the club. He's the one that calls the shots.
I'm the motherfucking one who calls the shots.
And then, just below him, you've got Stymie, which is the Consigliere, and then you've got the underboss. But he plays both roles. Usually the underboss's job is, he's like second in command from the Don. And in the movie, in the movie, when he says the speech, you know, he says, I, Stymie, member in good standing of the He-Man Woman Haters Club, right? In other words, in my head, that sounds like he's the underboss. Because Spanky organises him, and they're sort of like, Spanky and Stymie are like this, okay? So below the underboss are the captains. Now these guys are in charge of organising their soldiers to get jobs done, to, say, whack someone, I don't know. They organise a group of soldiers that do the dirty work, in other words. Now, usually there's 3 of them in a Mafia family, but in the Little Rascals, I found 2 of them, and that was Porky and Buckwheat. Now, these guys are always together. Porky and Buckwheat are ordered by Spanky to look after Alfalfa and to make sure he doesn't leave the clubhouse because he has to guard it day and night, remember? In other words, holding him hostage. And below the captains are the soldiers. Now these guys are in charge of doing basically all the dirty work. Whacking people, killing people, you know, stealing stuff. Right? It doesn't happen in the movie, which are all organised by Spanky, which is the Don. Stay with me. So we've explained the Mafia family, okay, different ranks of it. Now in every Mafia movie, in every real Mafia, there was always a rat. A rat is someone who gives himself up to the feds or works with the feds or has a wire on him and somewhat goes against the family. Let me ask you a question. If you've seen the movie, who goes against the club? Alfalfa. And this whole movie, he's simping over Darla. Okay? Going against the club. How dare he? Betrays the Don. Goes against the family. Who's the Don? Spanky. Are you trying to understand what I mean? Let's talk about Alfalfa. He chooses Darla over an important meeting with the club, aka family. When he's with Darla, they plan on having a candlelit lunch in the clubhouse. Spanky sees this, right? And he's like, no. So at their lunch, right, Spanky orders his soldiers, right? Orders the captains, you see what I mean? So he orders them to ruin the lunch, to somewhat get back at Alfalfa for doing him wrong. Okay, so they prank him for a little bit, okay? They get back at him. Spanky's just seen enough, okay? The Don has seen enough. So then Spanky, with the whole club, goes up to the door and just presses Alfalfa, right? And then Alfalfa gets shook and he decides to quickly pack it all up before they see him. And he goes to blow out a candle, but then he doesn't, and then he puts the table away, and then that's when the fire starts.
Go stupid.
So Alfalfa burns down the clubhouse. Oh, no. You cannot be doing that. Now at this point, he is on bad terms with the Don. Because of what Alfalfa did, they order a meeting in a court sort of thing, right? And Spanky orders a hit on Alfalfa. Kind of. He orders an execution at dawn. But then Simey steps up, the underboss, okay, talking to the Don, right, and suggests he should be put on probation. And he should be in charge of watching the clubhouse day and night. Then Simey says, you will not talk to, see, or even think about Darla, or else. If you stayed for this long, thank you. Now, in any Mafia family, they always have a rival family. In other words, ops. And the rivals in this movie that go against the family are Butch and Woim. Terrific names, by the way. And there's also Waldo, but he doesn't count because he doesn't really do anything. Now, bitch. Now, Butch and Woim are the enemies of the family, and always trying to beat them up. There's numerous scenes of Butch and Woim chasing after Alfalfa, and at one point they try to chase after the Don. No. No, you don't do that. To try to hurt them, just like they would in real life, kill their ops. And how does Spanky deal with them? Kills them. What are Mafia families most known for? Crime. Now let's talk about the crimes. Sort of. Now the first crime, arson. The meaning of arson is the criminal act of deliberately setting fire to property. Setting fire to something. The clubhouse. Next crime, fraud. Wrongful or criminal deception intended to result in financial or personal gain. And what do they do when they go to get a loan? Lie, put on disguises, and also Buckwheat and Porky, the two captains, put up that sign for admission at the fair, even though it's a free fair, right? The next crime is theft. The action or crime of stealing. Butch and Woim steal their go-kart. Theft. And Spanky and Alfalfa also steal parts of a washing machine. Theft. Next crime, a fray. An instance of group fighting in a public place that disturbs the peace. I'm talking about when they ride through that shopping strip and just go sicko mode on everyone. In conclusion, Little Rascals is a Mafia movie. I hope you You've made today a special day by just your being you. There's no one else in this world like you, and I like you just the way you are.
I'm trying to find a reason, trying to find someone to be with. Why do you tell me you love me? You only want me for my money. All we want is some love. You know we can't get enough. All that play is at Final Fantasy 14. My right hand kinda hurts, I think I need some morphine. What's your favorite game?